Hey guys, welcome back to the lockdown with Sean and Cam. Unfortunately, we've been off for a minute. I actually had some personal issues I had to attend to. Cameron had his own thing he had to do, but we're back now. We're going to try and bring content every week as much as we can. Might be a little difficult, but we'll see what we do because we have Cameron. He actually is going back to school, and that obviously takes priority right now. Got to get that education. But we're
Final
actually going to do
semester,
something. Huh?
final semester for me.
Oh, yeah. So we're actually going to be doing something different from now on with our shows. We're going to have two segments. Our first segment is going to be taken away by Cam. He's going to do the news, and we're going to do snapshot reactions to certain things going on within the sports world. And then our second segment is going to be the show that we actually have for that day. And we'll let you know what the second segment's going to be when we get to it. But just to start, let's go over the news with Cameron.
Right. So I just have some important uh, injury updates from the NFL and their training camps. Teams are, trying to get back into the groove of things and learning their systems, especially the new teams with new coaches and new quarterbacks or just new players in general. Um, a lot of injuries, a lot of personal updates surrounding like COVID or family related matters. Uh, so in the NFL, we have like Nick Chubb, running back for the Cleveland Browns. He's in concussion protocol right now.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Tyreek Hill of Kansas City. He recently left practice early due to a hamstring injury. We don't know his timetable. Uh, AJ Green, we all know, who has been very injury prone for the most part of his career. He's still dealing with a hamstring injury. Debo Samuel, wide receiver, great rookie last year, the San Francisco 49ers. He has a foot injury and he's probably going to miss a good chunk of the beginning season. Uh, Jarvis Landry, Cleveland wide receiver. He's questionable at the moment with a hip injury. Von Miller at Denver. He's also questionable. He has an elbow concern. And then a major blow in Philadelphia, Alshon Jeffrey. He's battling a foot injury as well. So, having someone like Alshon go out, it really takes a big impact on Carson Wentz and his
Right.
aspirations to get back to the Super Bowl or just establish himself as an elite quarterback with one of his major weapons, sidelined. Rashad Penny from the Seattle Seahawks, running back, he's battling a knee injury. And then finally, we have Alex Smith from Washington football team. He has returned to practice, but he's still facing, that leg injury and all those
Right.
surgeries and facing. But the reason I put Alex Smith in this list of major injuries is because I feel like even while injured, he's a better and more proven quarterback than Dwayne Haskins. I feel like
Gotcha.
Alex Smith is their best hope if they want to win multiple games this season. And my prime example is just yesterday I saw a video on Bleacher Report, and it's a video of uh, Alex and Dwayne taking reps, throwing passes to uh, their receivers, and Alex was right on the money. Dwayne Haskins overshot his wide receiver, and
Gotcha.
I feel like that type of inaccuracy for Dwayne is going to be killer for Washington. Like they don't have a lot of expectations of winning, but if people want to take them seriously, even just a little bit, I'd rather them start Alex Smith, and that's honestly that's laughable.
That's interesting. considering he's coming right off of that injury. So, I mean, we'll see. And if that, I mean, they got rid of Trent Williams. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that offensive line is. But those are some big names on that injury report. My goodness.
Yeah, some of them they're all like it's already obvious, like Green and I know Miller. He's been missing a few games last season. Nick Chubb,
Debo.
yeah. So, but they're very important to their team. If I
Yeah.
had to rank, like if Hill at Kansas City is gone for a good portion of the season, Kansas City might be in some trouble.
Yeah.
It's going to take a big hit on their like they have weapons everywhere, but just the dynamics between Hill and Mahomes is it's elite. It's up there.
But yeah, and if Von Miller is out for the Broncos, that's a huge shot at the defense.
Yeah, a lot is going to ride on the shoulders of Bradley Chubb.
And he's coming off an injury too. He had
Yeah.
a season-ending injury, I believe, last season. So we'll see how he comes back and progresses. But yeah, those are. I was thinking you were gonna name some just like random people from teams that are injured. You out here naming some like top 10 people, top 20 people. I'm like, good lord.
Yeah, there's injuries going around throughout the NFL, but these ones stick out the most to me.
Yeah.
There could be other injuries, probably like offensive linemen who are very important to their quarterbacks. But those were just the ones that popped out
Right.
because they just have that star to their name. So,
Yeah. And there's they even have it's like an injury list, and then they have a separate list, the COVID list. I mean, we could speak on the people on that, but it almost seems like they're on it for maybe like a few days, and then they come off and they get right back to playing football. So no really need to touch on that. So
yeah. And then moving on from the NFL to the NBA, just recently they just had their draft lottery, where representatives of the bottom of the league teams show up and they do a lottery and decide what order they will pick the next upcoming season's prospects for the NBA season. And I think it was Minnesota, Golden State, and one other team that were supposed to have the most favored. Last night, Minnesota ended up winning the number one pick for the draft, and people are saying that the highest prospect is either going to be LaMelo Ball. He's a guard forward mix, younger brother of Lonzo, and then Anthony Edwards, a guard. I don't know where he's from, but yeah. So the Wolves get the first pick, the Warriors get the second pick, Charlotte, Chicago, Cleveland, Atlanta, Detroit, New York. And I'm honestly like I was watching First Take, and Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith, who are huge New York Knicks fans, and they just felt so disappointed in their team once again. So
what's new?
I feel
it's like that every season.
Yeah. So I'm sure you probably aren't very aware of who's who in college basketball because there's been a big hiatus with COVID, so there's not much to go off of. But
Right.
there's some promising prospects outside just the two that I listed earlier. Our Sacramento Kings, we got chosen to pick 12th. Kind of average for us. Usually sometimes we get top 5, but usually we're around that range. Unfortunately, we would like to pick late in the draft. But,
yeah. And now we have someone new to run it. Vlade Divac, man of his word, steps down. Peja steps down. We're in a new time with the Sacramento Kings. So hopefully it's for the better. And hopefully Luke steps down soon too, because I'm not feeling that guy either.
it's a move in a in a better direction, but we need to make sure we also take the right
Yeah.
direction.
And talking about the Kings, let's go down, 2 hours? 2 hours down the road to Golden State. My goodness. Like, these guys won the chip, 2 years ago? And they basically lose their best players. They almost basically tank the season, and now they get the number 2 pick, and then they're getting Steph and Clay back, Draymond. This is I'm not a fan of the Warriors, but this might be a team to be reckoned with come next season, and I don't think anybody's talking about that.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting sight to see all the Golden State bandwagoners show up to games again, if they allow it. Because as soon as they lost KD, as soon as they lost Steph and Clay, their fan base has dwindled. So,
Right.
I'm not much of a Golden State Warriors fan myself. Don't mind the hat.
I was about to say, what is
But yeah, it's a great position that they find themselves in. They losing their best players, but then now finding themselves with the second overall pick. They can trade it for more picks, or they can trade it for another star that could help them.
Right.
A very role player, because they lost the greatest role player ever in Andre Iguodala. So
Yeah.
Having some, and the young players that they have right now, I think they're coming into their own, but I think they just need a little bit more if they want to go back to actual championship contention. Because right now they're basically borderline playoff team bound for next season if Steph and Clay come back healthy, regardless.
Yeah.
So, but just having someone else that extra X factor player to rival LeBron, Giannis, Kawhi, Harden. I think just getting that player during the off season is going to put them over the hump. So we'll see what they do and come draft night, but it should make for an interesting draft overall. So moving on to the first segment that Sean mentioned in the beginning of the podcast. So currently the NBA playoffs are happening right now. Games for every series has already passed. So we're just gonna go through each and every series and give a good prediction for based on what's been happening so far, and predict what might happen later down the road. So let's start off, with the East. So the Nets and the Raptors. So currently, Toronto is up 3-0 against Brooklyn. They beat them today, just recently, 117-92. My snapshot reaction is bring out the brooms.
Get the broom. It's a sweep. It's going to be a sweep. But you know who's the winner here? KD. KD's the winner. He got, I think, a $1 million bonus because they made the playoffs, and dude didn't even play the season.
Yeah, he must be really happy right now. And it's so interesting to see how formidable Toronto has become since Kawhi left their organization after helping them win a chip. So
yeah.
Seeing this right now, did they ever even need Kawhi in the first place? Maybe for last season, but they're holding their own with.
Well, I think what happened is LeBron went to the West, and that's when their opening, widened, because they would always get there, and then they run into Bron, and LeBronto, and he would take over and just rip their hearts out of their chests. And then when he went to the West, it was wide open for them.
Yeah, but kudos to the Raptors organization for keeping Kyle Lowry and drafting someone like Pascal Siakam, who has evolved into a top 10, top 15 player in the league. Next, we have the Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic. Right now, they are tied one apiece. The Milwaukee Bucks were able to tie it yesterday with a score of 111-96. Um, Possible upset? Question mark.
I don't think it's going to be an upset. Granted, we have to give the Magic credit where it's due, and it's definitely due. They have shown up in this bubble, much like the Suns have, and they're super competitive. And Aaron Gordon, you go. I remember watching them play the Kings, and I think they hit like 33s in a row or something. They were hitting
They're
threes
raining on it.
from 500 feet away, fadeaway jumper, swish. It's like, what's going on? No, there's no way to stop that. But with the Bucks, they're really cohesive, and they still have that guy named Giannis. So I don't think it's gonna be. It's not going to 7. I think it's gonna be over maybe 5 or 6, and I think the Bucks are gonna move on.
Moving on, we have the Miami Heat and Indiana Pacers. Miami, who is the underdog in this, or not underdog, but based off standings, is lower than the Pacers.
They're up 2-0,
2-0.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, they had some pretty close games. Their recent game, they won by 9 points. I think it's just Jimmy Butler's time. He's. But also, I think they have some vanilla magic. That's my snapshot reaction. Vanilla magic with
Vanilla
Tyler
Magic.
Hero and Duncan Robinson. Dudes like
Yeah.
they look like Nick Stauskas, but play twice as better. You know, like these guys can shoot, these guys can ball, these guys can distribute, and along with just Jimmy Butler as their leader, fearless leader and just somewhat
Yeah.
crazy at times. Um, I can see this maybe going to 6. Yeah, so the final playoff series, I feel like it's the most competitive out of all the Eastern matchups, and that's the Philadelphia 76ers and the proud Boston Celtics, led by Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Just a fearless group. Boston leads, no. Yeah, Boston leads 2-0 right now, and they demolished them on Wednesday, 128-101. I think Ben Simmons is out, so it's all up to
Really?
Joel Embiid. Yeah, and he's been taking the load, and they just don't have.
They still have Tobias Harris.
He's a great all-around player for sure, but
Yeah.
you just can't answer Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart.
They're just too good. And Kemba Walker, like,
Yeah, they're too deep.
Celtics are stacked. Gordon Hayward, that's what I'm saying when you said Jimmy Butler really wants it, the Heat want it. If they run into the Celtics, I think it's going to be a great series, but I think the Celtics are going to win. It's very possible that the Celtics come out of the Eastern Conference as the winners because they're good. Jason Tatum is balling.
Yeah, I could imagine Boston playing spoiler to Milwaukee in the conference finals. So moving on to the West, which I think is the more entertaining conference. Just
Right.
loaded teams left and right, up and down. Let's just go. So right now we have a series tie between the Utah Jazz and Denver Nuggets. Their last game on Wednesday, the Jazz were able to tie it up with a very convincing 124-105 win. I think Spida Mitchell had an outstanding game offensively. This is a coin toss for me.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is gonna go, but
Because you don't know what team's going to show up on each side. They're just that team where you're like, they're either going to destroy you or it's going to be really close. They're going to lose in the end, Like,
yeah.
I guess one thing you could do is you could look at each team and how their players match up. And that might give you – I think that the Nuggets will probably end up taking it in the end. Probably, I could see it going to a game 7, but most likely it'll go to game 6, and I think the Nuggets will probably pull it out.
Mhm. And then we have the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Houston Rockets. Houston leads 2-0 right now. The last game that they played, the Rockets, won a close one, 111-98. And they did this without Russell Westbrook. Um, so yeah, I could see the Rockets not sweeping, but maybe winning in 5.
Yeah, I mean,
And next we have the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. Uh, on Wednesday, Luca and company were able to tie the series up 1-1 with a good 127-114 win.
oof,
I smell
man.
upset. I'm gonna call for an upset. I my boy Luka Doncic is just. I think he's ready. I think he's ready to take that next step of just being
Let-
just elite.
You
He
know,
can
you
do
know
it
what?
all.
While we're doing this right now, let me formally apologize to you for bashing you when I said that we should have taken Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic. I apologize to you because that was the dumbest mistake I believe that Vlade Divac could have ever made. Luka is balling right now, but I will also tell you that on the other side is still Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and the NBA wants the Clippers to get to the Western Conference Finals to go against LeBron.
And then finally, we have the Portland Trailblazers taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, Portland has been on a steamroll as of late. Winning the play-in round against Memphis.
Portland? You mean Damian Lillard? He's that team right now. That dude, he's
They
going
also
off.
got Nurkic. They got Nurkic back, so
Oh,
he's
really?
like
Okay.
really important. So the series is tied right now. Lakers were finally able to get their first win in a couple of decades with 111-88. So their role players like Danny Green and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, they were finally finding their groove. LeBron, I feel like based off of his 2 games against the Trailblazers, he doesn't know what he has to do right now. Like I think he's falling into the over because he scored a triple double recently, and I don't think they need that from him right now, especially if Anthony Davis goes cold every other game. So I think the Lakers, if they want to compete for a championship, they need to have LeBron average like 35, 40 points and just be a monster of an offensive player and not so much.
But I see this ending in 5 or 6 games. I see the Lakers winning.
My snapshot reaction to this, it's Dame time.
You think Blazers are gonna beat the Lakers?
I can smell a new Damian Lillard meme coming out soon. So that's it for the snapshot reactions.
All right. And now we're getting into our second segment of the show. And for this segment, we're going to do something new. We're going to do this thing. It's going to be called Stock Up, Stock Down, or Hold. And so what's going to happen is Cameron's going to give me 5 quarterbacks from the AFC. I'm going to give him 5 quarterbacks from the NFC. And he's going to let me know what he thinks. So do you want to get started with that, Cameron?
Yeah, I'll want to get your take on these 5 quarterbacks that I selected. So first person we have last season's MVP, quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson.
Ooh, that's a good one. Let me think. Let's see. Last season broke rushing record of all time. Threw for a lot of touchdowns, MVP. Hollywood Brown put on 15 pounds. Still has a good running game. Man, I'm leaning towards stock up. I say stock up because, until he gets into the playoffs, this guy is usually lights out. His receiving core got better. His defense is, going to be great, so he's going to have a lot more opportunities to do what he needs to do. So is Mark Andrews. So I'm going to say stock up for Lamar.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably say stock up too. Next quarterback we have, Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills.
Josh Allen. That's a tough one. I'm not going to lie. I know he got Stephon Diggs. Had a pretty good season last season. Patriots are not there anymore, so he could probably come into this league as the face of that division since Tom Brady's no longer there. Oh, man. I'm going to say hold. I'm going to hold on Josh Allen. I want to see how he does with his new weapon in Stephon Diggs. I know he's got a cannon for an arm, but I know he could also make some pretty bad mistakes. We saw that in the Texans game in the playoffs when he goes for the run and he throws it backwards, causes a fumble. So I'm going to say hold. I want to see kind of what he's got. And this is no knock towards him. I know that he's could be nearing an elite quarterback at this point. He's got a great arm and he could basically make every single throw, and he's good on the run. But I just kind of want to pump the brakes on him just a little bit here.
All right. Next quarterback we have is last year's most improved player, Ryan Tannehill for the Tennessee Titans.
Ryan Tannehill. This is actually a real interesting one. He got that huge contract. He was basically in the prove it situation, wasn't he, last season when he did take Mariota's job?
Yeah.
Man. Derrick Henry did just sign the extension, so he's going to be on the team, so he's going to be handing him off the ball. So he actually is going to be good. Still has A.J. Brown. I'm going to say hold on him too. He had a great season last season when he came in, but, now he has a full season. Let's see what he's got. A lot of people are saying it was kind of he caught lightning in a bottle. Let's see if he refers back to the same Ryan Tannehill that he was, with Miami. Because even in Miami, he had, flashes of greatness. And then he would get injured or he'd come back and he wouldn't do too hot. So I'm going to say hold on him, but I'm also nearing towards stock down. But we'll say hold.
I would agree. I'd probably just go with stock down because even if he has weapons on every facet of the offense, with tight ends, Johnny Smith, A.J. Brown in his second year, Derrick Henry, I think people are going to start to figure him out. And plus, that Tennessee Titans defense was also a major reason as to why they got to the playoffs, or just had a great record in the first place.
Right.
I'll probably say stock down. Next quarterback we have, Cleveland's own Baker Mayfield, former number one pick.
Baker Mayfield. Okay, let's see. You said Jarvis Landry's injured, but I'm sure he'll probably come back. OBJ. They get what's his name? Hooper. Austin Hooper has a pretty good running game. That defense. So. I'm gonna say stock up. I think he had a bad season last season. I think he's gonna try and come out, prove people wrong. I think he has a chip on his shoulder. People have probably been pissing him off, i.e. Colin Cowherd. So I think he's gonna try and light it up this season. I think he's gonna try and get OBJ the ball more, and Jarvis when he gets back. And then Austin Hooper it's a sneaky good acquisition, especially when it comes to the red zone, because he's like big, so I could definitely see his stock rising.
Okay. Finally, we have this. We don't know if he's going to be the starting quarterback, but it's just one of the more interesting storyline quarterbacks of this offseason, and that's Cam Newton with the New England Patriots. And just to update too, Jared Stidham has been having a bit of a leg injury over the past recent time.
Oh, okay.
So that might be a good a factor into Bill Belichick's decision of who's going to start.
Interesting. You know what? Give me stock down. You know, Cam Newton, you know, he was great. We all know that 2015 year, I believe he won MVP. You know, just completely lights out. Then he injures himself, comes back. He improved under Norv Turner. His accuracy was a lot better, but he doesn't have Norv Turner now. He's on the Patriots. Obviously, Bill Belichick's going to get the best out of him, but, you know, I mostly say stock down because he's coming off an injury. We haven't seen him play in a while, like I think a whole season, basically. And a lot of Patriots players opted out. So that's not good for him. You know, he's losing weapons. I believe some people on defense, and the Patriots have a good defense, so he's going to have to try and win games on his own. And I would kind of near toward hold because we don't know if he still has that ability to win games like he used to because we haven't seen him play. But I'm going to say stock down just because, like I said, he's coming off an injury. He lost some weapons, so we don't even know what we're getting. I mean, is he still, you know, mobile? Can he still run like he used to? You know, he always likes to go after contact, but he gets hit a lot and usually gets injured when he gets hit. So I'm going to say stock down for now. It might lean more towards hold later on, but right now I'm with stock down.
Just a quick. I just want to throw one more out there. Just give me like a couple words.
A name?
Yeah.
A quarterback?
No. Ben Roethlisberger.
Mm-hmm. Hold. I say hold. I mean, he's a great quarterback, can make every throw, but his elbow, that's his throwing arm. We're gonna really see what if he gets hit. You know how defensive ends are now in the NFL. They don't just go for a sack; they go for that strip sack.
Oh yeah.
So they're gonna hit his elbow, you know, all of that. So, you know, we'll see what he can do. But I'm gonna say hold just because, you know, still have Juju, got James Washington, you know, James Conner. But that wide receiver, isn't he James Washington? Yeah. So I have James Conner, you know, that running game. I guess it's kind of good, but he drops bombs. It's just, can he still throw really far? I mean, since he did with the shoulder. So I'm going to say hold, and we'll see if he's still elusive in the pocket. I've never seen someone as elusive as Big Ben in the pocket when rushers are coming after him.
You know you're a quarterback if you're named Big Ben.
Right. They either bounce off him or he comes up into the middle, throws a bomb. I think the only other quarterback that I could think of that really does that is probably Aaron Rodgers, who does that really good too. So I'm going to say hold.
Okay. That's all the quarterbacks in the UFC that are interesting.
Do you have any? So what do you think about that? Do you think that's kind of where you're at, or
pretty accurate for the most part? Especially Baker Mayfield. I feel like his stock is going to go way up after the disastrous season he had, especially with the new coach. So I think he's developed a lot over time with his weapons. And Austin Cooper is an awesome find. So it's going to be interesting to see how he treats him in the red zone situation.
Right. All right, now you're going to do these NFC quarterbacks that I have for you. Are you ready?
They're all going to be stock down.
I try to keep it interesting. Here we go. First quarterback, Carson Wentz.
Stock down.
Okay.
They stock down. I'm not riding the Philadelphia hype train like a lot of people are. Like, I'll give him kudos for what he did last season, but I don't think he can replicate that. He has Zach Ertz, still one of the top 3 tight ends in the league, and hopefully he gets paid after the record-setting contract by Kelsey and Kittle recently. Deshaun Jackson's still a speedy guy. They got Marquise Goodwin from San Francisco, but he, I think, has been sidelined for personal reasons. Their running back situation is pretty good, but I feel like Carson Wentz might take another year, like an average year again, and I don't think he could bring his team to that playoff spotlight in the championship, especially in this conference, which is like very loaded. And they have a lot to deal with in their own division as well, especially with Dallas and Dak Prescott, who is very unpredictable, even with all the God-given gifts that he has. Maybe if Carson Wentz was in Dak's position in Dallas, I'd probably say stock up. But the situation he has right now, even with the fine coach that he has, I don't think it's enough to get them to a conference championship. Maybe the playoffs. Most likely, they're probably going to make the playoffs. But the end goal of the game is to win a championship. And Carson Wentz, I don't even think he hasn't even won a chip by himself, right? He won a chip, but that was not because of him, right?
It was Nick Foles. Because he got injured.
I can't see him earning a chip right now, especially with the surrounding cast he has. So I'm going to say stock down.
I said hold, just because his last season was really good. I think he threw for 27 plus touchdowns, not too many interceptions. With the supporting cast that he did, it was kind of not good. They were dropping balls all over the place. So, with who they got in the draft, I think it was who they get in the draft? Jalen Reagor. So we'll see how he does. But like you said with Alshon, how he's injured with that foot thing. If it lingers, that's another reason why I'd have it on hold. But you still have Zach Ertz. And it seems like Wentz, if he stays healthy, he can be, he could be formidable. But moving on, try not to be biased with this one, all right? Kyler Murray.
I'm going to go stock up. He's a number one pick for a reason. He's shifty. He plays very mature and calm. And this is his now second year with Cliff Kingsbury. He's not who most people would say isn't a great pick of a coach, but it's better than what they had before. And now with the addition of Nuke, DeAndre Hopkins in their supporting cast, along with just a great efficiency wide receiver in Larry Fitzgerald, I don't think there's anything that can stop Kyler Murray besides the NFC West. Had it not been for the fact that he's in one of the hardest divisions in the league, he would be a brighter star in this league. I could see him improving his stats greatly, especially on the ground as a running mobile quarterback, learning the offense and learning the intricacies and tempos of the game. I think he can now adapt to that more easily, and it'll probably show throughout each and every game. Kind of like I always thought of him like a Russell Wilson kind of comp player. So I'm gonna say stock up. This might be a big year for Kyler Murray.
Right.
I'm not gonna.
I said stock up too. Mostly because it's going to a second year. He's in the same exact system. He had flashes of, good things and, last season. And they went out and they get DeAndre Hopkins, who I think is going to elevate Kyler Murray's game. Like, we're talking third down. He can't throw it to anybody. He's just going to throw it to DeAndre. 9 times out of 10, he's going to, catch it. He's going to make Kyler look really good. He still has Larry Fitzgerald. And his mobility is very good. It's that of, Russell Wilson. And in a division with some studs at defensive end and, on the defensive line of some of these teams, it's going to be really, really good for him. But next up, we got Mitchell Trubisky. It's an interesting one. It's very interesting. Down, okay.
He's going to be benched mid-season, and Nick Foles is going to come in to clean up his mess. I'm just not convinced. And he didn't get any help. Like, dude, you got Jimmy Graham in the offseason. What is he going to do for your team? You have a great coach in Matt Nagy. He's going to draw you up some fabulous plays. But I don't think he has what it takes to execute those plays on a consistent basis, especially when it counts the most in the fourth quarter and you're down by 6.
Right.
So it's sad to see how his career has become. But it's still early,
It's true.
But so far he hasn't proved to his critics that that he's worth being getting that big bucks as a starting quarterback. But he's just riding out I think he's still on his rookie deal.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is his contract year.
Yeah. So, it's a contract year, so maybe he stock up. But if he had a better surrounding cast,
right?
Like you got Allen Robinson, that's kind of helpful. You got Ted Ginn, speed, but it's. I think what makes Chicago great is just their defense.
Right.
That's enough offense.
Down. I said hold, just because I feel like last season some things just didn't go the Bears' way. And with him getting injured, I want to see a healthy, Mitch Trubisky. This dude he could be really, explosive on the run, like with play action and all that stuff he's good at. So I want to see Nagy use him for, what he's good at, not what he wants him to be good at. If you know that this guy's really good at play action, that he can move the pocket, take off on a run, design stuff that makes your quarterback, play to the best of his abilities. I don't think Nagy did that for him last season. So I would say hold. It's very possible that, Mitch Trubisky comes out and he just totally blows it, and Foles comes in and, takes the Bears to the Super Bowl and wins it, whatever. Things that Nick Foles just does. But right now, I would say hold. That defense is coming back, healthy, so they're going to give him many chances. I don't know if that's the best idea, but, we'll see what happens. They still have Allen Robinson. If Montgomery has, breakout season and helps Trubisky, that would probably make his stock also go up, because that play action game is going to be a lot better. So I would say hold on Trubisky.
Okay.
And next up, we have the 43-year-old man for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Stock up. I am on that hype train for Tampa Bay.
He's 43.
Oh?
My goodness.
He has an excellent off-season program. He has not had a carb in years. So he's playing. He takes care of his body, and he hasn't been injured in years. So
that offensive line is not that good for Tampa Bay, though. Okay, so he needs to get the ball out quick.
I think he can manage. He's played in the game for many years, and although he doesn't have his great offensive line, he makes up for it with great offensive weapons.
That's true.
As one goes down, the other goes up, because what he had in New England, that was just garbage. So,
right.
Having Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, that's going to make up for, their poor offensive line. And even then, they were able, with Jameis Winston, they were able to score a lot of touchdowns too. And he was he threw a lot of interceptions. So I think he's put in a great position at his age. I think he's in the perfect spot to play at age 43. And even if he isn't great passing at first, you know, he can still establish a good running game based, you know, depending on what Bruce Arians draws up in the scheme. But I believe Tom Brady, he can, you know, make some noise throughout the regular season in his debut year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, stock up. TB12.
I'm gonna say hold.
You're holding on everyone.
You know. All right, Mitch Trubisky, I say hold or stock down, but Tom Brady's a definite hold.
Nah.
Why is Tom Brady a definite hold? Because he's about 2 years away from a little kid holding his hand down to walk on the crosswalk. You know, when a little kid holds an old person's hand to walk them across the he's nearing that. So, yes, he has some great weapons, but my guy, he's 43. 43 years old.
Looking great at 43.
So, you know, even though he's looking great, you know, he could throw, like, look at Drew Brees. He's not nearly as old as Tom Brady, and he still looks good, but there's games where you're like, oh my God, Drew Brees is not hitting his throws, anything like that. You know what I mean?
I feel like with Drew Brees' situation, though, he has been hit countless times over his career. Tom Brady, he's been able to keep his body safe in New England, who is known to have a history of good offensive lines. So he's never really had to experience, and plus, he's never had to wear out his body being a mobile quarterback. He's just fine playing in the pocket. Drew Brees, you know, has to spend, you know, so much of his energy running around the field that, you know, it takes a toll on him. Like Tom Brady, he's been blessed to just stay in the pocket and just use his arm muscles. That's it.
Exactly. And what I say to that is you hit the nail on the coffin when you said he's had good O-lines in New England. So if his O-line is not good with Tampa Bay, and he just sits in the pocket, he's a sitting duck. He's a sitting 43-year-old duck.
It's going to be good enough. I feel like it's going to be good enough. He doesn't have a slow arm. You know, I think he'll be able to release the ball. You know,
I'll tell you what. If his weapons do good, he'll do good. If his weapons don't live up to, you know, the standard, and his line doesn't show up, and granted, we're not even talking about the run game. If they don't have a run game, it's gonna also be difficult because that tells you all he's gonna do is throw the ball.
Let's go through his offensive line right now. So right tackle, they just drafted him, Tristan Wirfs.
I think rookie.
He might establish himself to be a pretty good tackle. Right guard, Alex Kappa. Don't know who he is.
Who's that guy?
I don't know, but on this lineup's website, he's rated 67. Same as Tristan Wirfs. He might be, I don't know if they just drafted him or if he's just god-awful, but next they have a center, rated 82, Ryan Jensen. That's pretty average, you know. Good enough center. Left guard, rated 88, Ali Marpet. Okay. I don't know. Muppet.
Okay.
Sounds like a Muppet. And then left tackle. This might be a concern. Donovan Smith. He's not that good. And that's an important position. So his
left tackle. So you're telling me your blind side, your defensive end, you got Cam Hayward, or you know, like look. Did you see what I'm saying? Tom Brady might get destroyed in some of these games. So you're telling me Tom Brady, he's a sitting duck. He's 43 years old, so he might be a little fragile now. Could you agree with that?
Stock up. I'm going to stock up. I'm sticking with my guns. Stock up. You know.
Hey, I would lean towards stock up and hold. Okay, I'm not on stock down. I'm on hold just because he's older. His offensive line is not good. Who's their running back?
We've never seen anyone in the history of this league like Tom Brady. But granted, I will say, we also have never seen a coach like Bill Belichick. So they struck lightning in a bottle not once, but twice with those two players in that organization. So
who's their running back?
How he does. but I'm confident that Tom Brady will shine in his debut in Tampa Bay.
Also, I just want to say he doesn't have Josh McDaniels now either.
Josh McDaniels is overrated. He was
Oh,
too scared to
jeez.
take the job in Indianapolis. He backed
Right.
out of that because he knew he'd end up like Matt Patricia.
We'll see what happens. That's why I say hold. Because you have to see what happens. I mean,
No, you gotta be confident in either choose. No, we should have just called this segment "Stock Up, Stock Down." I am not holding on a player. I'm going to stick with my guns.
you have to hold. Holding on Tom Brady is to me, the most logical thing.
No, that's the safest thing to say.
All right, next up, we got Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, another old elder statesman of the game, who plays like he's still 30.
How old is he?
32, maybe?
That's not 43. And he's mobile.
Aaron Rodgers. 36. 36. But he still plays like he's 30. He had an interesting season last season. Has a great supporting cast. He's in year 2 with his relationship with his coach, who I'm blanking out on the name.
LaFleur.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur. This one I'm going to hold.
Okay.
I'm going to use my only hold. I'm going to hold on Aaron Rodgers because what's interesting about this situation is Jordan Love. Like, what were the motivations for bringing him into this organization at that particular time? You know,
Right.
The Green Bay Packers could have given Aaron Rodgers more weapons, more protection, more defense, like he's been needing for the past his whole career. But they go with someone at his very position, and that's supposed to threaten you as a player, because despite your greatness, despite your one Super Bowl championship, you're getting older, you're getting a little more frail. And I'm gonna use your Tom Brady justification. He's getting older, he's getting up there in years, but he doesn't have the luxury that Tom Brady has. Like, granted, he has Devontae Adams. So that's all you got. Your best.
He also has James Jones. Aaron Jones, yeah. He has a running game, which I don't think Tom Brady has. I think the Packers have the better defense than the Bucks.
Ooh, that could be debatable. But I'm going to hold for now because I don't like. If you brought in Jordan Love, that must mean that either in the middle of this season or the beginning of next season, he's going to start.
Okay.
So there must be a reason. And, Aaron Rodgers, he could take this and be like, you know what, Green Bay Packers organization, I'm going to use what you just did to me as motivation to just go MVP mode. That could happen. And he just, goes wild in the regular season. Because he can. He can go off at any given moment. But he's old, and he just doesn't have, outside of Jones and Adams, who defenses already know how to probably expose them. Along with, I think they have a not so great O-line. I don't think he has an average offensive line. I don't think Aaron Rodgers, you can make a case for stock down, but I would probably between hold and stock up, just because he is that petty player that will use that as motivation. It's kind of like Kevin Durant. He uses what his haters say as fuel to just go off.
Right. I'm going to say stock up. I think you could make the argument that every year Aaron Rodgers could be stock up. Because he had 28 touchdowns and only a few interceptions or something like that last season. Yeah. So, he's throwing at least 30 touchdowns this season, at least. I don't see any less than that, really. He's got a chip on his shoulder by the name of Jordan Love. He's right behind him. I don't know how far behind him he is, but he knows that he's there. He knows that the Packers drafted that dude. And I think he's pissed. I think he's gonna go. He's like, you guys bring him in. I'm Aaron freaking Rodgers. I'm one of the best to ever throw a football. Okay, watch what I do. And on top of that, he probably still has the nastiest taste in his mouth of what happened to him in the playoffs against the Niners. He's probably pissed, and he wants revenge. Not necessarily on it, but he's gonna wreak havoc. He sees his division. He's like, okay, Bears, they might be pretty formidable this year. I'm gonna sweep the Lions, no question about it. I'll probably sweep the Vikings, might split it, like whatever. But I'm gonna go off, and the Packers we're gonna be a top 2-3 seed this year. He said, I'm gonna make that happen. Does he go back to MVP mode? Probably not, because you still got Mahomes, you still got Deshaun Watson, you know what I mean, Lamar Jackson. It's gonna be harder for him to win the MVP, though he's very capable of doing that. But I'm going to say stock up. It seems like he's pissed off. He has something to prove, even though I'm pretty sure he knows he doesn't have to prove crap to the Packers organization or the fans or anything like that. I think he doesn't really care what anyone else thinks, even though you're right. He does have that kind of Kevin Durant factor to him where he is petty, but he's Aaron Rodgers. And at the end of the day, he almost has that LeBron factor to him where you can never really count him out. So I'm gonna say stock up.
Okay.
I'll give you one more. Huh?
I just got lost how many quarterbacks I talked about. But yeah, one more.
Well, let's see. That was 1, 2. That was 5, but you gave me one more, so I'm gonna think of one for you. Let me think of all the NFC. I'll give you Matt Ryan.
Oh, that is an interesting one. He has gifts. Like, both within himself as a quarterback and then just surrounding him. I'll say stock up. It's not going to translate into wins, but he's just statistically, as an individual quarterback, he has Todd Gurley, who's great in the passing game when he's healthy as a running back. He has Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. He has Hayden Hurst, who they just got from Baltimore. So I feel like he's going to rack up a lot of touchdowns and a lot of yards over the season, but it's just not going to translate into a winning season. I'm going to say stock up for just him as an individual quarterback.
I'm going to agree with you. I think it's stock up for him too. I mean, I don't think he's had a really bad season before. Like I said in past episodes, I've had him on my fantasy team, and this dude has racked up 50 points for me like 4 weeks in a row. Like, he puts up numbers, he puts up touchdowns, he throws some interceptions, some costly ones sometimes, but a lot of the times he can be clutch. He throws legit bombs to Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones, and they don't call him Matty Ice for no reason. And I know you said how he stopped doing good or whatever when Kyle Shanahan left because he had that one MVP year. But he's still, people say that he's not an elite quarterback, but he puts up elite numbers.
He does. He's sneaky good. Like, people underrate him. But I think it's also because a good part, he just has a great supporting cast.
Yeah.
Especially, they have a pretty good line, with Alex Mack at the center. It was pretty decent. And, I think I could see him becoming, in the future, a Hall of Fame quarterback. One of those great ones that we're just known to just not get it done all the way, but just during the regular season, we're just an absolute gem to watch. I would say stock up.
Yeah. All right, we'll do one more. I'll throw you an AFC. You throw me an NFC. All right. I'm gonna throw you. Yeah, I'm gonna throw you. I'm gonna throw you Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
The tough one.
I think this is that's a tough one because that's just, it's not fair. He's in an organization that it just doesn't try. I'm gonna say stock down. I just don't like. He just if he was put in a better situation, I think he would build his confidence, kind of like Mitchell Trubisky in Chicago. You know, you got Le'Veon Bell, but that's all you got. You know, your best wide receiver is Jamison Crowder. So you can't go off. You can't, make a lot of stuff happen. And he's still young. And so far, he's been sacked more than he's had touchdowns. Like, you just feel for the guy. You feel sympathy for him. You know, he's such an upstanding guy, his personality-wise, But yeah, stock down. I don't think he's not going to go.
I'm going to have to agree with you. And it's not even really his fault. I mean, it's the Jets. It's their front office, their organization. They've failed Sam Darnold. And there was that moment where you thought the Jets were going to really be something because they went out, they got Le'Veon Bell, they got C.J. Mosley, all these big pieces. I think C.J. Mosley's still injured. Le'Veon Bell, he hasn't been the same since when he was with, Pittsburgh. Granted, he's saying he's going to be the best he's ever been this season, but we'll see. But it seems like the Jets have just failed Sam Darnold. You let Robbie Anderson walk, his number one wide receiver, you let him go. You don't even really try and re-sign him. You get Rashad Perryman. Okay. I mean, he's not Robbie Anderson. He could be good, I guess. Denzel Mims, we'll see how he does. But, so I'd say stock down. And that has nothing to do with, he's super talented. If you put him on, like, another team, he could probably light it up. Like, he has an arm. Like I remember when he played the Patriots, he said he was seeing ghosts or something because he's throwing so many interceptions. But it's like your line is trash. Your wide receivers aren't getting separation for you. So the Jets, they didn't put him in a good situation at all. So I'm going to say stock down.
All right. And then my NFC quarterback, we're going to stick in the same state of New York. We'll go to the Giants, Daniel Jones.
Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, let's see.
Final evaluation.
I'm going to say stock up. I think stock up, he was completely doubted, last season. They thought what pick was he? Like, I forget what pick he was, like 7th or something like that by the Giants.
Top 10.
Something like that, yeah. And they totally bashed it. I remember Max Kellerman, like, almost crying on set, And he came out, he did well. You know what I mean? So I think stock up for him. I think he's only going to improve off his rookie season. You know how every season there's a quarterback that from their rookie year makes that jump, that second-year jump, and Lamar Jackson did that?
Yes.
Don't be surprised if that's Daniel Jones.
I wouldn't. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So I'm going to say stock up on that.
I agree. I think just having, all the weapons he has with Ingram, Shepard, Barkley, I think it's going to get him to where he wants, where the organization wanted him to be.
Right. And they got, who'd they get? Who was that? Huge dude in the draft. He was an offensive lineman. What was his name? Was it Mekhi Becton? No, that was to the Jets. What's his name?
Andrew Thomas?
Andrew Thomas, yeah. So, they're starting to protect him too. So
yeah.
I would not be surprised. Yeah, I would not be surprised if Daniel Jones lights it up. Thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe if you really liked it. We'll try and bring content every week like we said, but we'll see what happens. Maybe it might be every other week, but we're going to really push for every week if we can. So wherever you're at with COVID and everything going on, just want you guys to know that our thoughts and prayers go out to you and your family, and we just hope that everybody can be safe. So we'll see you next time.